Okay, I don't know why we little. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are a little on the side. What's happening? What's happening?
That's all
Okay.
right.
So I'm trying. So you see they have the little have a
Yes.
little beta thing. So it better work if we can get big. Let me see. I don't know. I'm playing around with it. Okay, it's over there. All right. We good. All right. All right.
A- And I see there's a little, we can see the comments.
Yeah, that's what is the thing that
Yeah.
I was trying. They have a beta thing, so the comments can scroll. So I guess I can still go to the comments and show them. Yeah, I can still show them. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can still show them, and then they can scroll. Okay.
Okay.
Look at the technology. See, and that's what's one of the things we're gonna talk about today. Look at the technology. How you
All
doing?
right. And yourself?
How was your weekend? Last weekend?
It
Did
was
you have a good time?
great. Yeah,
Good,
because
good.
Saturday I hung out. I was over to my friend's mom's house. We had breakfast and hung out on the patio.
Oh, come on now.
And then on Sunday, we went different shows because she came up to see our other friend's cousin perform. She was in town for 3 days at a jazz restaurant. So
Okay. Nice. Well, when I tell you Greenville, South Carolina owes me nothing, they owe me out.
really,
I
okay.
had a ball.
All
A ball.
right, all right, details.
I I had a ball. You know,
Good.
it was for one of my friends' 60th birthday. And so there was a group of us in a 15 passenger van. There were 10 of us in a 15 passenger van, traveling through the mountains, going south to South Carolina. And it was for a line dance. I won't call it convention. It was a marathon. So basically, they had several activities over the course of the weekend, starting on Thursday. We didn't go until Friday. But on Saturday, it was a nonstop 10-hour from 10 to 10. We playing music, getting in. There was no instruction. Well, I take that back. There were two songs I think that they actually kind of like, okay, let's teach this. But for the most part, it was the DJs playing music, getting you ready. Let's go. Let's dance. I had my Fitbit. I posted it on my Facebook page. 5 hours. I danced straight for 5 hours.
All right.
I had a ball, just an absolute ball. And the people just beautiful and friendly and kind, all that Southern hospitality. It was,
Right.
and it was a nice spot. I mean, the place, the city where we were, I said, okay, Greenville, don't show me Greenville for real. Like, I mean, like, how close is Greenville to Macon? What I'm doing here? What I'm doing here? But I had been there before, uh, briefly, because after I sat there, because of course we drove past one of the hospitals that was in the systems that I used to work for. And I was like, I remember when they merged, we came down here. I think we was here for 12 hours and then we left and went to Raleigh and then we left and went to Tampa. So we did like a quick let's meet and greet with their compliance teams when they first merged. So I was like, well, I didn't get to see all of this. Come on, Greenville. Y'all better stop playing. So it was fun. And I think we were an hour from Spartanburg. So it was cool. It was cool. We had a good time.
Good.
Mm. Yes, nothing like Southern hospitality and charm. Baby, when I tell you we had a ball, we had a ball. A ball. Like I said, they owe me nothing. And I guess this is an annual event. So I don't know if we'll be making it an annual event or not, but I had a good time. It was a fun time.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool, cool, cool.
We had a
Well, how was your
time
week?
last weekend.
Yes. So how was your week?
Uh, it was okay. I mean, how about
Yeah.
yours?
Ooh, these students, we're back. It's our second, I think it's our second week of the semester. And yeah, I learn something new every single day. So now I've learned that there's another program in our organization that um, you have to take two certificates. You have to go through two certificate programs in order to get the degree for this particular program. And so she's pushing people which I'm not mad, whatever. She's pushing people to our coding certificate. Well, ma'am and sir, if my program isn't listed as your major, how can I help you determine what you may need, what you don't need? What can we think it all the way through? That's all I'm saying. And let somebody know so we can all think it through. How about that? Yes. Yes.
Right.
Baby. When I say critical thinking skills just sometimes don't exist, they just don't exist, and it's okay. Somebody got to think, right?
Yes.
Why not be me? All right, all right. Well, let's get because I got a whole bunch of stuff for y'all today. Woo, child. Somebody said something to me, and it just I'll tell you more shortly. Anyway, well,
Okay.
to our Saturday morning tea. Here we brew up the hottest topics in healthcare. We discuss health information, news, education, certification tips, entrepreneurship, Southern hospitality, uh, gathering with friends and breakfast and all of the things, taking a little break when you need it, all of the things. But really, we talk about the revenue cycle at large. And as you come in, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or like button. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, the founder and senior education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, where coding education is key. It's always going to be key, right? Anyway, PRN is a healthcare compliance consultancy located in Cincinnati, Ohio, that specializes in revenue cycle and regulatory compliance, as well as education. Now, let me ask, do you know what it takes to be a certified marketable medical coder? Well, before I introduce my co host, let me share with you information on a free email course on the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
Hey. Okay, I'm sorry. I get caught up with the music. If you are interested in getting more information about the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder, check the video description for the link. Joining me today is my partner in success, my co-host, Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark. Put some respect on his name, the coding nurse. Sir, introduce yourself and tell the folks all about you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia. I've been in healthcare for a long time. I left the bedside in 2014 and got into risk adjustment. During the pandemic in 2020, I created a company, the Coding Nurse LLC, where I help nurses and other people in healthcare with a clinical background transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
And how is that going for you?
It's coming along nicely.
Okay, nicely. Yes, he rubbing his hands and everything. I see. Yes. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right. Before we jump in, let me remind you that you can join in and add to the conversation, so don't be shy. Your opinion matters and is welcomed here. And friends, we all know, use the chat. If you have a question, please type Q first so that we know it is a question for us and we don't miss it. Let's see who we got in the house. Good morning, Tanika. Good morning, Crafty Coder. And I see it's happy birthday and happy anniversary.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Ma'am, I'm surprised you here.
Exactly.
We know how that anniversary and birthday go there. Yes, the Crafty Coder is our on-the-street correspondent.
Yes.
Providing some additional information and details that we all get to share with you. You are more than welcome. All right. So for those who are just joining us or watching the replay, today we are talking Medical Coding Careers 2025, your success roadmap. And I know we've been talking about this for a while now, but like I said, somebody said something to me and I was like, for real? And so, and the more things we've discussed, the more I just wanted to kind of double down and say, okay, we talking. What we gonna do? Let's get to doing. Let's move that needle a little bit. So today we're gonna talk about hopefully some actions for some of you to take as we navigate our wonderful profession and career. But first, let's get into our church announcements, shall we? Yes, we can. Can we kick it? Hey, hey, hey. Mm, 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 mm. Hey, 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 hey. Got the slow bop. All right, like you're walking down the aisle. Hey, with the choir. We marching in. So we got to keep marching, y'all. We got to keep marching towards the goal. Woo. That was a whole word right there. All right, let's see. Here we go. Boom. Hey, okay. Y'all see, I get real excited on the church announcement music. All right, today, real quick, hot off the press. I know we've talked about Purdue Pharma and all the foolishness that has happened over the years when they agreed to pay $650 million to resolve criminal and civil investigations. However, a senior partner at McKinsey & Company, which is a global management consultant firm, he done gone to jail, y'all. He was sentenced, finally sentenced yesterday to 6 months in federal prison for obstructing justice related to his work on Purdue Matters. In addition, he was ordered to serve 2 years of supervised release following his incarceration, which includes a requirement that he perform 1,000 hours of community service. And the court also imposed a $40,000 fine. Martin Ealing is 60, who is a U.S. citizen, most recently residing in Bangkok, Thailand. I think he thought maybe he could run over there and not get extradited back, maybe. I don't know. Because some of the stuff I'm reading about, dude, is shady as shady. But he pled guilty in January of this year to a 1-count information charging him with knowingly destroying records with the intent to impede, obstruct, and influence the investigation and proper administration of a matter within the jurisdiction of the United States Department of Justice. Let me take this down. It's loud in my ear. I don't know if it's loud in yours. Okay. He willfully destroyed records in order to obstruct a Department of Justice investigation. What else did he do? They said he will now have 6 months to fully comprehend the consequences of those actions. That was from the acting United States Attorney Zachary T. Lee. He said this sentence should be an example to all individuals considering similar actions. If you destroy records, if you impeded a Department of Justice investigation, you will go to jail. They want let the record be set and let it be known. What else did they do? It was something I wanted to tell you. Oh, so the McKinsey group, so Purdue engaged them to help recover lost OxyContin sales back in 2013. And so they were trying to figure out how they can increase their revenue. And to develop plans to capture priority opportunities. This effort was called Evolve to Excellence, or E2E. And really it was basically them telling them how to increase the sales pipeline for OxyContin. By intensifying, one way was intensifying marketing to, quote, high value prescribers. The one thing that popped off was Ealing emailed another senior partner in 2018 and said, just saw in the FT that a certain board member is being sued by state's attorney general for her role on the Purdue board. It probably makes sense to have a quick conversation with the risk committee to see if we should be doing anything other than eliminating all our documents and emails. Suspect not, but as things get tougher there, someone might turn to us. I'm like, are you kidding me? He also emailed himself an apparent to-do list with the subject line, when home. The items listed included delete old Purdue Pharma documents from the laptop. It said, and of course they did a forensic analysis of his laptop and found documentation and things from April 2018 through September 2018. He also removed a folder titled Purdue, which included a subfolder entitled Strategy, that contained more than 100 items from whom the file names indicate that they were from as far back as 2004, and included the name of the Purdue Pharma CEO at the time of the origination. So yeah, all of the things. And then he said he sent him another email to himself, said remove Purdue folder from garbage. He was just snitching on himself, right?
But why didn't he just write these notes on his phone? Like,
I don't know.
Because they tell
why didn't you just write the notes on a piece of paper somewhere? How about that?
But at least
don't stay out of the electronic world.
I mean, everybody knows that anything work related, when they do their investigation, they can pull up everything.
They
delete it and
stuff.
Exactly.
I would tell people all the time, if you have a personal phone, keep your personal phone and your work phone separate. If you're given a work phone, let that be just for work use, because anything you put over here is subject to scrutiny, and they can take your phone and your personal phone because they know that there's a connection. So, Lord. She said, if saying you want to get locked up without saying you want to get locked up was a person. Absolutely. Crazy. So yeah, that just came from the Department of Justice on Friday. So that's hot off the press. So I guess they picking all the folks off little by little, but this one is going to do his 6 months at a minimum, 6 months in jail, or a maximum of 6 months, but he still has that the additional year of, I guess, or 2 years of supervised release. So yeah, that's all I got. Mr. Jesse, what you got for church announcements?
Well, I just want to say happy birthday and happy anniversary to Crafty Coder again. But also remember how when a couple years ago we were talking about Operation Nightingale?
Yeah.
And I was saying, I'm like, I don't think they're going to be able to do anything with those nurses. Well, I was right. Last month, the Maryland Board of Nursing cleared almost all of the 259 nurses that were in their purview for this scandal.
Wow.
So I knew it.
So everybody's out here.
Yep. So they get to keep their licenses and practice. And
risking everybody's lives. Wow. Interesting. Well, you called it. You all you what you batting? 10 out of 10 right now.
Look,
you be calling them first.
I'll say 9 out of 10 just to be modest.
Really? That is hilarious.
Right. And speaking of fraud, so after we finish our meeting, after the meeting, I will be knee deep in linear regression.
Oh.
In my because I have a project for my data analytics class that's due on I think it's Monday. So that's what I'll be doing. But it's interesting how you can, through linear regression, you can, once you just establish what the dependent variable is and the independent variable, you can really see a relationship. So I think that's how they use some of these advanced analytics to find out, to get these relationships to start digging.
Yep.
And
That's
then
why
okay.
I'm surprised, like all of these providers think, oh, they'll never get me, or I can't. They watching.
Then I was kind of optimistic at first because, the risk adjustment streets were buzzing because there was talk of every Medicare Advantage program is going to be audited every year now.
And rightfully so.
So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I was like, that's good. But
And that's what I'm saying. And rightfully so. It should be. And should.
But then
because they out here playing real tough and rough with the church's money.
But then with this, budget that they slipped through, I don't know how you're going to do that when you cutting over $800 billion. That's a lot of money.
Oh no. Bless their heart. Lord.
So that's all I got.
Okay. Are you sure? There's nothing else? Okay. Let's see. All right. Well, let the tea spilling begin. So hello again, everyone. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, and my partner in success and co-host, Mr. Jesse, the coding nurse. We're here welcoming you to another episode of the Saturday Morning Tea. I'm so excited to share today's topic with you all because when I tell you, we got a lot to talk about. Anyway, I was sipping my tea the other morning and thinking about something that somebody said to me. And she was like, I feel like she's new to the profession and she feel like she's running to stand still in this profession. She feel like I'm preparing all this stuff, but I feel like it's going to all just take me out from under my feet in a couple of years. And she's nervous and she's concerned, and I guess rightfully so. But that hit me a little different and kind of got my wheels turning. Like, well, So today I'm here in my favorite spot with you. I got something different, y'all. I've been addicted to this matcha lavender latte. I used to get it at another place, but I know how to make my own now. And here we go. So
all right.
We've been making them. And I hope you have your favorite beverage, brew, tea, hopefully. But some of y'all may be having some other kind of beverages because it is 5 o'clock somewhere or brunch time. Because we're about to have a conversation that could literally change the trajectory of your career. At least I hope so. I hope you have some nuggets. So today we're talking about not just keeping up with change, but getting ahead of it. And really, this is about your career, your future, and why being a medical coding professional in 2025 is more exciting than it has ever been. I know sometimes folks think around and they get in a depression, if you will. Woe is me. What are we gonna do, boss? What's happening? But no, I've always said this. We gotta shift, pivot, change your mindset. Be a little more optimistic.
And right? Marketable.
Hey. And so hopefully we're going to give you some tips, strategies, and some actual actionable items today. So let's start with some numbers that should make every single one of you sit up a little straighter in your chair. So did you know, because I didn't, these numbers, I was like, well, really? The medical coding market, our profession hit 21.1 billion in 2023. Now, I know we throw around big numbers sometimes, but listen to this. By 2032, we're looking at being the generators per viewers of $49.8 billion. That nearly doubles in less than a decade. But here's what those numbers really mean for you sitting there. This isn't just growth, this is an explosion of opportunities for jobs, advancement, and yes, higher salaries. And there's a way to get to that. But anyway, well, last week I had a conversation with one of our professional reimbursement network clients, and she told me something that gave me chills. I was like, well, wait a minute. She said, Clarice, 5 years ago, I was worried about job security and how I was going to keep my doors open. But now I'm worried about having enough qualified people to fill all the opportunities that we're getting and that we're seeing and that we're capitalizing on. And I said, okay. And now we've heard over and over again about all of these positions or all of these jobs, and they can't find qualified people to fill them. We always keep asking the same question. Well, why? Well, let's talk about that. So the median income for what they list in the it's the National Jobs Database, and I know I'm butchering that name, but pretty much that's what it is. Hit around $65,000 in 2024, specifically $65,401. Now, that might seem good or not so good, depending on where you're sitting right now. But here's the pearl of wisdom I want to share with you. That's just the starting point for professionals who position themselves strategically. That's not the end point. Again, that's the starting point, and there's only up to go. So I want some of you who just tensed up because you're thinking, well, what about AI? What about automation? I've been hearing that robots are going to take our jobs. We've said it once, we've said it a million times, and we will probably continue to keep saying it. AI is not your enemy. AI is really a superpower that you can tap into that is waiting to be activated and waiting for you to activate it. So you see, the healthcare industry isn't integrating AI to replace us. They're actually integrating it to enhance what we do. And so this is where you come in. And here's why that's actually incredible news for us. Who's going to validate those AI generated codes? Who's going to catch the nuances that a machine completely misses? Who's going to train the next generation of coders to work alongside these tools? What was that? It will be us. That will be us. So that's our opportunity. That's our future. I was just at an educational summit a couple weeks ago, and they were discussing how educational institutions are already, me being one, updating their curricula to include AI integration training. There's also a company called Medi Infotech that's actually training coders with AI enhanced skills right now. But here's your advantage. You already understand the human element that AI can't replicate. So you got a ace in your pocket. You just need to be able to use it and know how to strategically use it. Um, when documentation doesn't make clinical sense, when a code doesn't fit the patient's story, when a provider needs education about documentation improvement. That's your value proposition in an AI enhanced world. AI can't give them that. So instead of fearing technology, we're going to learn to partner with it, because the coders who embrace this partnership, they're going to be the ones writing their own ticket in this profession. And those who don't, gonna be back scratching their heads saying, uh-oh, what is it? What is it? Hey, Dr. Jasmine, even with automation, wait a minute, I'm trying to pull it up. Even with automation, I'm trying to say what you tried to write.
Oh, it isn't without error.
Without error,
Mhm.
there is still a need for human interaction. It's about upskilling. Absolutely, absolutely. And as we've said before, AI isn't perfect, it is a tool. And we have to learn to play with that tool. Go ahead.
But you know, I just wanted to jump in really quickly because the reason why I believe so many people in our industry have a fear of AI is because it was never framed correctly by our industry when it was first implemented. Like we say it all the time, like these organizations like AHIMA and AAPC have to get in front of these things. And they should have been the ones that had said this is a tool from the beginning, but that's not how it was framed. Because AI has been around in NLP, which is really AI, it's been since 2015. And how it is 2025 and people still don't know what they need to do, how they can capitalize is really a shame. And it's not their fault, it's the industry's fault.
And to the point, I think the messaging, there was a broad messaging when really it should have been more specific to the individual groups. So there's one broad message to healthcare in general, of how AI would be able to do this. And it's really, from my understanding and what I hear, the messaging is really about how are we going to be able to save money to keep the doors open to do what we need to do. And when people hear that, they oftentimes think, oh, this means a cut. This means that there's elimination, replacing things or people. And not necessarily focusing on, yes, it will be cuts and yes, it will be replacing, but not necessarily people, but replacing some of those duties and tasks that we can now free you up from to do this, that, and the third. So in all aspects of healthcare, even when they talk to or have conversations with the providers, they're saying AI will be able to help you free up your documentation burden to see more patients or do more things, so I think you're absolutely correct. It's just the way it was messaged. It was the way that it was presented. And instead of just being broad and blanket across the board, there should have been specific conversations for each of these groups to understand what that really means for them and to them. And, now in 2025, and I guess beyond, now folks are trying to circle back and have those conversations, but it's already embedded in folks' mind that, oh my God, what we gonna do? How we gonna move?
Exactly. Because what I also have come to realize is that there are a lot of people in healthcare who have zero respect for the skill of medical coding. It's almost like it's, you're just part of a typing pool. Like it's really like you don't really, it's not, it has never been given its rightful place. And once again, that goes to our industry, and it's not the people in the industry, because you cannot make $1 without a medical code in this country. You can't. How you gonna bill it? Because they don't even talk about, you don't even really hear, I've never heard any organization talk about why we even have codes. It's mandated by the security rule and as part of HIPAA.
Absolutely.
But nobody ever really, and because of that, that's why it's so important. But nobody ever talks about that.
For that, because we have the research component of it, and we have other things that the codes are necessary for. But money talks, and so that's where folks lightweight start listening when you start talking money and having the conversation about, well, how we help generate that money, how we help generate those dollars. So, go ahead.
And then it's also like this, just like that little blurb that I shared with you about how clinical validation is beyond the scope of a coder. Like how? Like clinical validation is nothing but meat. Like what coder has not heard of meat and has not been taught meat? Like it's
you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. There are some coders out here that,
well, I mean, but that's a whole nother.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole. Yeah. But I'm talking about somebody who properly trained.
Okay.
They definitely know what meat is, because
Correct.
they definitely can validate more than somebody who just worked in the ER for 20 years.
Yes. So there are 3 game-changing shifts. Now, that we've talked about the big picture and why this market explosion is happening. Let's talk about the 3 specific shifts that are creating these incredible opportunities. And these are the trends that smart professionals are already capitalizing on. And I want you to be aware of them. Shift number 1 is the AI partnership revolution. So this builds on what we just discussed. But let's get practical. What does AI partnership actually look like in your day-to-day work? So imagine this. You come in usually on a Monday morning, but because it's a holiday weekend, a Tuesday morning, and AI has already done the initial code assignment for 80% of your charts. But instead of feeling threatened, you feel empowered because you know you're the expert who validates, refines, and ensures accuracy. You're spending your time on complex cases, provider education, and strategic analysis, which is the high value work that commands premium compensation. I had a conversation with a coder last month who told me, Clarice, AI freed me up to focus on the interesting cases and actually use my clinical knowledge. Now, that's the future we're moving towards. Shift number 2, the telehealth gold rush. Here's something that might surprise you. Telehealth isn't just sticking around, it's expanding in ways that create entirely new specialty opportunities. Of course, the COVID pandemic highlighted this, but telehealth was actually happening before. But with COVID, it was level set. But the permanence is what's creating the opportunity. We're seeing new reimbursement policies, new billing codes, new modifiers specifically for virtual care. Remote patient monitoring alone is creating revenue streams that didn't exist 5 years ago. Recently, I was helping a client understand the new CPT codes for remote therapeutic monitoring. Now, this isn't just adding a few codes to your repertoire. No, no, no. This is becoming a specialty area where experts can command significantly higher salaries. Y'all see these connections of how you move from being general and ordinary to specific and extraordinary? If you're not getting educated on telehealth coding specifics, you're missing a massive opportunity that's only going to grow. Shift number 3, personalized medicine is here. And this is the big one. Genetic testing, targeted therapies, individualized treatment plans based on a patient's DNA. We're living in the future, and it's creating coding scenarios we've never seen before. So here's the challenge and the opportunity. These cutting edge treatments don't fit neatly into our existing code sets. Who's going to figure out how to accurately capture these complex personalized interventions? Who's going to work with providers to ensure proper documentation? Who's going to become the expert that organizations turn to when they can't figure out how to code something? The coders who embrace complexity and continuous learning. The ones who see a new treatment protocol and think opportunity instead of problem. A partner of mine who works in the compliance consulting world just finished a project where they had to develop a coding protocol for a new type of immunotherapy. The client was stuck. Revenue was jacked up. They couldn't figure out, they were actually at a bottleneck and they couldn't figure it out. And they needed someone who could think outside of the traditional coding box. And this, my friend, is where specialists will thrive. So now you might be thinking, Clarice, all of this sounds overwhelming. But here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to master all 3 of these areas at once. Pick one that excites you and deep dive. Become the go-to person in your organization for that specialty. That's how you go from being a coder to being a coding consultant. Think entrepreneurship. Think way outside the box. So we've talked about the opportunities. We explored the trends, but now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What do you actually do with this information starting well, usually I would say a Monday morning, but on Tuesday morning, since it's a holiday, I'm going to give you 4 specific action steps that you can implement immediately. And I mean immediately, not someday when I have the time, not when my employer provides training, but starting next week. Action step number 1, certification portfolio assessment. Right now, and I mean right now, I want you to look at your current certifications. Are they current? Are they relevant to where the market is going? If you're not preparing for these changes, you're already behind the curve. But here's the strategic piece. Don't just maintain your current credentials, add to them. The market is rewarding specialists, not generalists. Generalists can be replaced. Specialists, it's gonna take some time to catch up to them. Think that. Keep that in your spirit. Whether that's CRC for risk adjustment, or CPMA for auditing, or CHC for compliance, or any specialty specific credentials. Pick one that aligns with the market demand and your interests. Action step number 2, technology partnership strategy. Stop waiting for your employer to train you on new systems. Take charge of your own tech education. Mr. Jesse, you all about this. This is your jam right here. Learn the EMR systems that are dominating the market. Epic, Cerner, Athena Health. Get comfortable with AI-assisted coding tools. Understand your coding integrates with revenue cycle technology. I had a student land a remote position with a 25% salary increase, specifically because she had taken the initiative to learn Epic on her own. And yes, there is a way to learn those different modules and platforms in Epic on your own that does not require you to be an employee of a system. We'll talk way more about that in the meeting after the meeting. That's the kind of proactive approach that gets noticed. Action step number 3, specialty focused selection. The days of being a generalist coder, again, are numbered. I need you to pick a lane and become excellent in it. Risk adjustment coders are commanding $10,000 to $20,000 premiums over general coders. Behavioral health coding specialists are in incredibly high demand. Emergency medicine coders with audit experience are basically writing their own ticket. So pick one specialty that interests you and start your deep dive this month. Join the professional groups, attend the webinars, get the specialty training. Action step number 4, global thinking. Now, this one right here had me sit up real straight, like, wait a minute, because I've been asking these questions over and over and over again about this. So this might surprise you, but US trained coders have incredible advantages in the global market. Our training with ICD-10, now we need to make sure we upskill that to ICD-11 as well. CPT and HCPCS gives us skills that are valued worldwide, whether that's remote work for international companies, consulting opportunities, or even relocation. Start thinking beyond your local market. Oftentimes people, even here in the States, they say, oh, well, we only got 1 or 2 major hospital systems. Y'all know we having a conversation and y'all not sitting in front of me. You are wherever you are. We have level set. We have level set this. So you can think about other organizations outside of your state, outside of your city, outside of your town, all of the things. But think global. Let's think global. Folks are working remotely for companies in Australia, Canada, and the UK. Then there are others who've built consulting businesses serving multiple countries. Your skills are globally transferable. The question is whether you're thinking globally, and you gotta be at this point. Mr. Jesse, did you want to jump in anywhere?
I just think that because I was thinking about, we had, I was reading something about outpatient, and like there's this whole line of demarcation, inpatient, outpatient, and I think that in terms of entrepreneurship, which I think that anybody who has been coding more than 5 years, you need to be thinking about starting a business, doing something. Because in 5 years, you learned something.
Should
You
have.
perfected something.
Should have.
And I just think about I just think that there's more opportunity for entrepreneurship outpatient versus inpatient. Because inpatient, they have systems, but outpatient, like these providers are flailing and they don't really have the proper help, because even though they may have privileges at a hospital, if they're involved in their practice, they can't call the hospital coder and say, well, how do I do this? Or can you look at this chart for me? So they need people like boots on the ground, like in their offices or outpatient, to really help them. And I think that's where the opportunity is, because honestly, like the Crafty Coder have really just joining the medical billing and coding forum on Facebook, based on her recommendation. It is people out here are lost in these offices. I'm talking about clueless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And,
But go ahead.
and it's just a lot of opportunity.
I agree. But you know me, I like to think grand and big. And so even though opportunities are vast and probably easily attainable in the outpatient sphere, somebody started work in the inpatient sphere as well. They started small and built. Look at Ensemble itself. They put a team together to be able to go and market to these inpatient systems to be able to do the work that they did. Other folks can do the same thing. They can be competitors in the same field. So don't cut yourself short if that's your jam. There are opportunities there as well, because what you can do, you may do way better than somebody else, but you have to be able to show and prove that you can do what you can do. So I feel like there's opportunities all around in all of the different areas and sectors in our world. Okay, so before I wrap up, I want to give you some questions to think about this week. And now these are some questions that really you need to answer. I'm going to give you some additional commentary on them, but you really need to answer them for yourself, honestly and strategically. So question number 1, if you knew that in 5 years, 70% of basic coding would be AI assisted, what would you start learning today to ensure you're in the 30% of strategic high value work? Well, again, this question gets to the heart of professional survival and growth. And let me paint you a picture of what that 30% looks like, because this is where the money and job security live. First, you become an expert in complex case analysis. When AI suggests codes for a patient with multiple comorbidities, unusual presentations, or rare conditions, again, who validates that? Who catches the subtle clinical nuances? That's high value human work. Second, regulatory compliance and audit expertise. AI can assign codes, but can it navigate a CMS audit? Can it explain the clinical rationale between code selection to a payer? Can it identify patterns that could trigger compliance risk? Absolutely not. Third, provider education and CDI leadership. Doctors don't document for AI, they document for patient care. Someone needs to bridge that gap to teach providers how to document in ways that support both clinical care and accurate coding. That's consultative work. That commands premium compensation, hundreds of dollars per hour. Fourth, data analytics and revenue optimization. AI gives you the codes, but who analyzes the patterns? Who identifies opportunities for revenue enhancement? Who spots trends that could impact reimbursement? That's strategic thinking that only humans can provide. So here's what I start learning today: advanced analytics, compliance frameworks, clinical documentation improvement principles, and leadership skills. Because in 5 years, the coders who are just code assigners will be the ones worrying about job security. Question number 2, when was the last time you looked at your coding accuracy, not just as compliance, but as a competitive advantage in your career advancement? Oh, yes, this particular question hits a little different. Most of us think about accuracy as avoiding trouble, but let me flip the script for you. Your coding accuracy is your professional brand. This is your marketing. When you consistently achieve 97, 98, even 100, if you get there, percent accuracy rates while maintaining productivity, you're not just doing your job, you're demonstrating executive level competency. Think about it this way. Every accurate code you assign protects revenue. Every denial you prevent saves time and resources. Every compliance risk you avoid protects the organization from penalties. You're not just a coder, you're a revenue protection specialist. I had a colleague who tracked her accuracy improvement over 6 months. She went from 94% to 98%. She didn't just put that on her resume, she quantified the revenue impact. She calculated that her improved accuracy prevented an estimated $150,000 in potential denials and rework annually. Guess what happened at her performance review? She got a promotion and an increase on her salary. So your accuracy metrics should be front and center in every performance review, every job interview, every professional conversation. Don't hide your excellence, leverage it. Don't be modest. Sometimes you got to pop out and show them and tell them. High accuracy isn't just about following rules. It's about demonstrating that you're the kind of professional who delivers measurable value to any organization. That's marketing 101. All right. If a healthcare executive asks you to explain how your coding expertise directly impacts patient outcomes and organizational success, could you give them a compelling answer? Now, this question separates the professionals from the clerks, and I mean that with all the love in my heart. Here's the compelling answer you should be able to give. My coding expertise creates a ripple effect that touches every aspect of healthcare delivery. When I accurately capture the complexity of a patient's condition, I ensure proper reimbursement that allows the organization to maintain and improve services. When I identify documentation gaps, I'm improving the clinical record that future providers will rely on for treatment decisions. Let me give you specific examples. Accurate severity coding for sepsis doesn't just affect payment, it triggers quality metrics that can improve sepsis protocols and saves lives. Proper risk adjustment coding helps health plans identify high-risk patients who need additional interventions. Accurate procedure coding ensures that quality databases reflect true outcomes, which drives medical research and improvement. So from an organizational perspective, your expertise directly impacts cash flow, compliance scores, quality ratings, and strategic planning. You're providing the data that executives use to make million-dollar decisions about service lines, staffing, and investments. And if you can't articulate this connection, you're undervaluing yourself and missing advancement opportunities. So start thinking like a business partner, not just a code assigner. Your work has downstream effects on patient care, organizational performance, and healthcare improvement. And you need to own that narrative. Question number 4, what's stopping you from pursuing that specialty certification you've been thinking about? And is that reason still valid in today's market? This one is going to step on some toes, but it needs to be said. The most common excuse or the excuses that I hear are time, money, and fear of failure. And let's address each one of them. With time, I don't have time to study, but you have time to scroll social media, watch Netflix, worry about job security. Specialty certification is an investment in your future earnings. Things like this CRC can earn, as I mentioned before, $10,000 to $20,000 more annually than general coders. So how much is your time really worth? Certification is expensive. The CRC exam costs around $400. If it increases your earning potential by even $5,000 annually, that's a 1,250% return on investment in the first year alone. I've never seen a stock perform that well, and I do play in the stock market. Fear of failure. What if I don't pass? What if you don't try? What if you're still in the same position next year while your colleagues with specialty certifications are getting promoted? So here's the reality check. In today's market, specialty certifications isn't optional, it's essential. The general coding jobs are disappearing or being automated. The growth is in specialized areas like risk adjustment, clinical documentation improvement, compliance auditing, and specialty specific coding. So stop making excuses and start making moves. Pick one certification that aligns with your interests. Again, it's got to be something you want to do, and market demand. Create a study schedule, join a study group, invest in your future self, because I guarantee you that the version of yourself with specialty credentials will thank you. And the last question number 5, how are you currently networking and building relationships that will support your career growth in an increasingly remote and global industry? Now, this question exposes one of the biggest career limiting factors I see in our profession, and that is the failure to network strategically. Now, let me be clear. Networking isn't about collecting business cards at conferences. It's about building authentic professional relationships that create mutual value. In a remote and global industry, this is more important than ever. And here's what strategic networking looks like in 2025. You're active in professional associations, not just a member, but a contributor. You're in LinkedIn groups sharing insights, not just lurking. You're attending virtual conferences and actually engaging in the chat, asking questions, connecting with the speakers. You're building relationships with people at different levels, peers for knowledge sharing, mentors for guidance, and junior professionals who you can mentor. You're connecting with people in different specialties, different organizations, and even different countries. I have students who've landed amazing opportunities because they've commented thoughtfully on someone's LinkedIn post. I have colleagues who've built consulting businesses from relationships they developed in online forums. We got folks right here in the PRNT sippers that are doing some incredible things and some incredible work just because of the connections and opportunities that we all discuss and provide. It's out here, y'all. So the excuse, I'm not good at networking, doesn't work anymore. Online networking levels the playing field, and you can be thoughtful and strategic without being the loudest voice in the room. So start with one professional group. Commit to adding value. Share an article. And you don't have to write the article, just share what somebody else thought. If it hit you and you were like, well, wait a minute, it's going to hit somebody else. So share it with somebody else.
I just wanted to jump in right there. I don't think that people understand, and I think it's really crucial now, especially as a result of offshoring. I think that networking is so underrated. And I tell all of my students, because they're nurses, so they're already working somewhere. So I always tell them, I'm like, listen, while you're in this class, you need to be reaching out to the HIM department, finding out who that is, finding out who the manager is, and having a conversation.
Absolutely. Let them know what you're doing, who you are.
One of my students, he got his CIC. And he's still working at his hospital. I'm going to meet with him next week. He was talking to somebody at his hospital, and they told him that they're going to be hiring for a risk adjustment CDI coder next month. And they told him, since he was an employee, he would be given an interview. So he and I are going to be prepping next week for his interview.
Absolutely. I got 2 students who just graduated, and before they even graduated, got positions in an organization. One, she actually did her practicum there, and said they were so impressed with how she moved. They hired her immediately. The other one, he just reached out. Hey, I do this, that, and the third. This is what I've been learning. I know so and so. He started having conversations with folks. He started showing them what he could do, because that's real key on your functional resume. Show them what you can do. It's one thing to talk about it, but you got to be about it and show them. And he did all of that, and he secured his position before he graduated as well. Network is no joke out here. It's no joke. Yeah, so you have to actually, do those things, and your relation, and be genuinely helpful. Offer encouragement to folks. Relationships will follow, and opportunities will follow relationships. And in a global remote industry, your network isn't just nice to have, it's essential for career survival and growth. So I really want you to sit with these questions, maybe journal about them, maybe discuss them with your coding friends, maybe bring them up in your next performance review. And also, here's what I love. Share your thoughts with our Saturday morning tea community. So jump into those comments and tell us which one of these questions hit home for you. And let's support each other in this particular journey. So we've covered a lot today. Oh, we over time. But I want to leave you with this truth. Your profession is not disappearing. It's elevating. The question isn't whether you have opportunities in the future. It's whether you'll be prepared to seize them when they come. The medical coding professionals who thrive in 2025 and beyond will be the ones who see themselves as strategic partners in healthcare delivery, not just code assigners. They'll be the ones who embrace technology as an enhancement tool, not a threat. They'll be the lifelong learners, the relationship builders, the problem solvers. You have a choice to make right now. You can sit back and hope things work out, or you can take charge of your professional development starting on Tuesday. You know my saying, don't wish for it, work for it. Now is the time. Pick one thing we discussed today, one certification to pursue, one skill to develop, one question to answer, and commit to it. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today, so don't let him or her down. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. All right, y'all. Well, tune in next week as we will be discussing another hot healthcare informational topic, and you won't want to miss it. All right. That was a lot. Ooh.
Very good.
Yes. And some actionable things. That's why I was so, like I said, we've been talking about this, and I was like, but what can they do? Well, let's tell them what they could do. Sometimes I'm learning with my own students. Sometimes you really got to break it down to the elementary. Let me show you what it is you need to do.
But I don't even know. I just think it's just our society now. Like you have to tell people what to do. Like they don't know to take a. They're not assertive. No.
So the girl, the book, they couldn't find the book. The bookstore, I don't know what was going on with the bookstore, but she was looking for the book. And I was like, oh, a new version of the book. That's what it was. The bookstore had the new version. And I guess she was trying to go out somewhere and purchase it outside of the bookstore. I said, well, get the ISBN number. Can you give me that? You can Google that to find the ISBN number for the version that you're looking for? Ma'am, if I had time. Okay. Let me get on. Let's wrap this up for today. So, are you thirsty for fresh perspectives on the healthcare revenue cycle? By becoming one of the PRNT sippers, you'll join a community of sharp minds who savor the complexities of the healthcare revenue cycle. Why sip alone when you can steep in knowledge together? Come, let's spill the tea in industry insights. Here's what you can expect as a valued member of the Tea Sippers. Exclusive healthcare insights, gain access to in-depth articles, webinars, and resources covering the latest healthcare trends, compliance updates, and revenue cycle best practices. Early access, be the first to receive expert insights and guides, ensuring you stay ahead in the ever-evolving healthcare industry. Personalized support, enjoy direct access to our team of experts for guidance on medical coding, compliance issues, and revenue cycle management. We're here to answer your questions and support your professional growth. And my favorite, Community Connect. We just talked about that. Join a private community of healthcare professionals where you can network, share experiences, and collaborate on finding solutions to common challenges. So by supporting us, you're not only advancing your healthcare knowledge and career, but also contributing to the success of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, a resource that empowers healthcare professionals like you to thrive in their roles, goals, and dreams. Thank you for considering becoming a member of the PRNT Sippers. For the cost of 2 cups of regular tea, you can join a month. You can join the community. Check out the link in the description of the video or go to bit.ly, the PRNT Sippers. You will, your support means the world to us, and we look forward to helping you excel in the world of health information and healthcare revenue cycle. Yes, yes. All right. Well, thank y'all again, because we way over time. Thank y'all again for joining the Saturday morning tea or checking out the replay. Was the tea spilled today? You can put your teacups in the chat. Yay. And if you have additional thoughts or questions or experiences that you want to share about today's topic, we'd love to hear from you. So drop a comment below and let's keep this conversation brewing. And if you enjoyed this episode, give us a thumbs up. It helps more healthcare professionals find our content. Also, check out the Coding Nurse channel on YouTube and the Coding Nurse on all of the social platforms. Remember, at the Saturday morning tea, we're all about building. I see your teacups. I see your teacups. Wait, let's show them. Yay. Yay. At the Saturday morning tea, we're all about building a community of savvy, informed, marketable healthcare professionals. So like, share, subscribe, and comment, and let's grow this community together. Mr. Jesse, do you have any closing thoughts?
Great show.
Yay. Yay. Thanks, y'all, for this. I needed it. All right. All right. A spin the block episode. Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, this has been a great session. I am so glad that just triggered something in my spirit, like, let's pause from some of the things that we've been doing and let's for real just double down. What they say, put 10 toes, plant 10 toes down. And that's what I wanted to do for you all today. So see you tea sippers. We still got time. See you tea sippers at 10:15 a.m. So we're going to continue this conversation because there are a couple of things that I need to share with you all. But until next time, remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it, work for it. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. It's Memorial Day.
Yes.
Do all of the things that you do for Memorial Day, but be safe about it. And we'll talk with you all next week.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.